Welcome back, Valuable Coaching. We were so grateful this week for Coach Eddie Pennington from Tusculum University. It was a kind of a extra long interview. I know yesterday's section was a little longer, but there wasn't a good break point. So today we got a little bit extra from him, kind of a bonus for Friday. And in this today, he talks a little bit about some of the struggles being a brand new program, but also some of the ways he's figured out how to overcome some of those things. And, we talk and have a little bit of a conversation about, how you can free up your players some when, when they're in that learning stage. So anyways, let's go ahead and get this last section in. And we're excited. They're back in action actually tonight against Limestone University. And then they play again tomorrow at Queens University in North Carolina. So excited to see them get back in action. And after a couple weeks of a break and some practice, we'll see how they do.
It sounds like there's some good things going. And to piggyback on a few things you said that I just couldn't help but notice is you talked about your Illinois program, about how you were part of the process, and they reaped the rewards and you weren't there. Yeah. But I really hope, and I think they do, is athletic directors should really study coaches and see where they've gone and see what their record is after they've left. And my hope is they do that, because it's not that hard to figure out. And it is interesting in the world of coaching, you kind of reap what someone else sows. Like if you would have left that program and I just waltz in there and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a 20-win coach. It's like, right. No, you're not really. I mean, Coach Eddie did all the passing and you just kind of waltzed in there, Kevin. And then another thing you kind of touched on, what Coach Hunt talked to me about this summer at Pepperdine. And it's just interesting because you're going through it. He goes, you know what, at our program, believe it or not, especially in the out of season when we're training with them. Yeah. Because we actually want 30% of our guys that are really confused with the drill. And it means we're growing and there's growth. Yeah. And he goes, if I have a drill and 100% of them are just mastering it and just crushing it, it's like probably the drill's too easy and I haven't implemented enough things to make them push. So that's a whole nother topic, but it was interesting because it rang a bell. And then lastly, when you brought up John Spraw, I have had the luxury where I've been a part of a lot of different college teams at different levels, and had some where it's like, that's some of the best in the country. Been a part of those programs, and I've also been a part of programs that don't win at all. And so I think, though, it's interesting in your situation, because I think John Spraw is very knowledgeable and he's a smart guy. One time I heard when he took over UCI, believe it or not, they weren't very good. Now, he got them really good in 4 years. But one thing he just tried to hammer home is the BIC. And the BIC was the game. Yeah. And he pulled his guys. And I don't know how he probably framed it, because you got to be careful with guys and young adults. But he would tell them, we have the luxury of a losing season. And he's like, we're still in the phase where we're not going to beat the UCLA and the SC, but we're going to crush this BIC and we're going to get it really good. And then in 4 years, he won a national championship at UCI. It was insane. Yeah, that's huge. That's so cool. But I think it's kind of reminds me of how you're taking a few steps back. You're like, look, we're crawling before we can walk. We're going to walk, then we're going to run. So I say, keep it up. I mean, the great ones in our sport are, did it like you're doing it. And I think that there's some good things can happen to your program. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be discouraged about the passing. I think with the exception of probably a few clubs, like that's still something that always has to be driven home.
Oh my gosh. I know.
No matter what level.
It's funny though, like this year, the guys that we have 3 freshmen that are our primary passers, which was for sure scary. But those kids, they love passing. Like we have certain passing drills. They're like, yes, let's go. Passing drills. Like we did a 2-man gauntlet today. And my freshman outside, he's like, Coach, when do I get to do that drill? Like, why don't you have me do it? And I'm like, I love the mindset, because that wasn't here last year.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's good. Like driving that part home has been good. And no, like I think, like you said, we are, like you kind of said with Sproul, we're trying to drive home just being fearless, because a lot of these games we have nothing to lose. Like we're a 2nd-year program, we have nothing to lose. And I want them to go big. And it was like, like you talked about us playing LMU. We played to our strengths. we played phenomenal defense. And I think that's a big staple of our program this year is we talk about, sacrifices and what do we have to sacrifice to win. Funny you bring up UCI because we also brought up the UCI and Ohio State match with one of my athletes from 2011. And I was like, listen, you need to look at these stats, okay? UCI goes into the national championship and has 3 missed serves. Ohio State has 26. Ohio State hits damn near 400, and they crush them. I mean, it was a 5-setter, but like statistical wise, like you have people hitting like an 800, people hitting a 400, and you're like, okay, like that's really good. Like, what are your trade-offs, and what are you willing to sacrifice? And we had that conversation before that match, and I was like, guys, like, what are we willing to sacrifice to play great defense? And they're like, well, we don't know. And I was like, making our serves. We're going to sacrifice making our serves and not being crazy aggressive. And I think that was a big, big piece for us was we made a ton of serves. We let our defense and our block do its thing. And we were really competitive. And, as the growing pains continue, freshmen are going to be freshmen and make freshman errors on game point in the 5th set and swing the ball out of bounds on an overpass. So we're going to learn and we're going to grow from that. It was like heartbreaking because we their libero overpassed on game point. It was like 14-15 or something. And my freshman outside had a chance to just bounce the ball and win the game for us. And he swings out of bounds. And I'm like, oh my God, no, you didn't. And we proceeded to lose the set. But it's just like, because we were fearless, because we were willing to make those sacrifices and trust and buy into what we do really, really well in our gym, we played phenomenal. And we had a really, really good match. And as a coach, like, there's always going to be matches, in my opinion, where, the card just didn't go your way. Yeah. But your team played phenomenal. And you're like, well, we had people that hit like a 600, people that were hitting like a 200, 300. And we had, a phenomenal amount of digs, but we just lost. And I think that was huge for us. Like it was, granted, I hate losing. I'm a really bad loser personally, but it was a really good loss for us because I think it really showed my guys what I've been talking about for years. Like, these past 2 years, I'm like, we can play with anyone. We really, really can, but you have to have that same belief. And it was really, really cool for us because, with the area, you hear like, oh, like, LMU, they're a great team. They're a very good team. They're well coached. They have kids that they're bought in, and they have that confidence about themselves where they know that they can go in and they can compete with really good teams. And I'm like, we're going to compete with them, and we're going to show them we mean business, and we're going to play to our strengths. And that's definitely what we did, because once we won the 3rd set, I'm like, we're going the distance. Like we're taking this to 5, whether you guys like it or not. And my guys like, we're going to 5 for sure. We're going to 5. And they did a really, really good job of having that fight, which it's huge from, freshmen and sophomores to have that type of fight.
Well, I think there's something freeing as a player, and I've found it as a coach to players, like when you do feel like you have nothing to lose and your coach has your back.
Yeah.
If you make that error, it kind of frees them up to play a little more loose and not so tight. And I've dealt with this just with, JV girls the last couple of years, just saying like, hey, just go play. It's okay. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to scream at you. I might have some ideas of how you can fix something.
Yeah.
And I don't like losing either, but there are quality losses at times where you can learn a lot from them and you grow a lot from them. And like you said, especially having these boys for 4 years, allowing them to see, like, look at the growth from year 1 to 2. Just think about what it's going to be like by year 4.
Oh yeah.
And then go sell that to other people. That's awesome. Because when it is just 1 year of high school, you have to kind of say like, hey, we're going to lose some matches here at the start, but the rest of the season is going to be great. So just hang in there. But it is very freeing. I think there's a lot of coaches out there still want to kind of have so much control on what's going on that the players get
it's hard. It's hard. Like I can tell you last year, I'm not joking, I probably stopped drills every 2 seconds. And I'm like, we got to stop sucking. This is terrible volleyball. We're so bad right now. And then this year, it was honestly one of my biggest goals was sit back and let them fail. Sit back, let them fight through errors in practice and let them actually figure it out. Don't give any feedback. I'm grateful to have a grad assistant. And I'm like, I know you want to talk to the guys right now, but don't say a word. Let them fail. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, trust me, it's going to work. She's like, okay. And something's been working, but oh my gosh, you're spot on. It's it was scary. Year one, I literally green lighted every single kid. I'm like, go do your thing, swing big, make errors. Like, we're here to get better. And oh my gosh, we were either the worst or the second worst serving team in the nation. And I'm like looking at the stats and I'm like, I hate this. I hate how many missed serves we have, but like, I'm not going to be the team that just gives in, the easy floaters or gives in like an easy top spin. I'm like, go for it. Just go big, fight through the airs. You're going to find control. You're going to get better. And that mentality was scary first year. It was really, really scary. And we changed it up a little bit this year, but oh my gosh, the green light was, it was a trip to say the least, because you have kids that it's almost like Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get. So it was fun.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's all I have. This has been really great to hear. You have a lot of great takes on how the game's growing, and it sounds like you have a great mindset to take a program from scratch and take it somewhere. It's awesome that you had that experience as a player, and now you can pass it along as a coach and continue growing the game of volleyball. I think, like we've said, just those opportunities and sparking, 1, 2, 3, 4 boys here and there, getting them started with it and really getting them to love it. There are a lot of great athletes. So, I know some people are maybe falling away from football a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's a great sport that coincides so well with basketball. And I think that's something that sometimes is missed, just saying like, hey, you can do both these sports. It would really benefit you. So
yeah, for sure.
I think this is great. I look forward to seeing your team grow, and, I really hope we can find, a couple other teams there for you guys to build a conference around. And
yeah, that would be phenomenal. And yeah, I honestly, like, it was really cool that we actually could make this conversation happen. I know it's been like a whirlwind of busy, a whirlwind of not being busy, but no, like, I appreciate you guys reaching out and having this conversation. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate you being on so late. We know it's late there, and we really appreciate people who are willing to come on late so we can both be on here. So
no, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, appreciate it. Hopefully we can be in contact and we can get some kids and I can get out to San Diego, hopefully within the next year.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you guys again for tuning in this week. And a big thank you to Coach Eddie from Tusculum. It looks like they're doing a great job building an amazing program over there. It's great to see volleyball growing. And it's great to see, again, we talked this week about high school growing across the country. We talked about men's volleyball growing in the college ranks and really trying to continue to do that, as it is, it's a great sport. It's a great opportunity for students and for student athletes. And, we really think that going forward, this is something that can impact a lot of people and have a good positive impact. And we need team sports. I think it's important for boys to be out there, having these opportunities to interact. And I think it's awesome too that he's trying to recruit from across the country. It allows people to get outside their bubble and go see what's going on in different states and different places. And it's just he's doing a great job building a program. And again, they play tonight, so check in and see how they do against Limestone, and then see how they do tomorrow, 4:00, Queens, North Carolina, and see how his team keeps progressing and keeps growing and building. And no doubt that they'll keep getting better with the things that he's implementing. So thank you guys again for tuning in this week. Make sure you subscribe, comment, ask us questions. Valuable Coaching on YouTube, Valuable Coaching on Instagram. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we look forward to trying to bring you guys some more new content next week. And hopefully we'll have some other new things coming out for you soon. Hey, check out our sponsors, One Stone Apparel, onestoneapparel.com. They make great apparel for camps, clinics, physical education, whatever your needs might be, even uniforms if you need them. Talk to Dave at One Stone Apparel.